Okay, first a short announcement that after this session there will be a longer break than usual. It will be a break for 20 minutes. The food is served outside, which you have probably noticed. For this session, it's a session of 3 shorter talks. We will go by having each speaker talk for 10 minutes, followed by 2 minutes for questions. It will be a hard deadline. After 2 minutes, I will just shut it off. So for first speaker is Brano Blaskovic, who is working in Daemons QE here in Brno for Red Hat. His side project is fedora-gooey-karma, which is a tool helping Fedora testers test Fedora. Brano, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Branislav Blaškovič, and I will talk about testing of Fedora, and I will introduce this tool, fedora-gooey-karma. So if you know, Fedora has an updates testing repository where are the updated packages which are not in stable repository, and it has quite some amount of time. It took, I think, 1 week, and after this 1 week, it goes to stable repository for regular users. So this is how the body looks like. Body is the page where these updates are located. So if a developer updated the package, it goes to this site, it's in updates testing repository, and you can decide to update your Fedora from updates testing repository to get these packages, and you can test it. And here is a karma system. So you can add feedback to these updates and add positive or negative karma. If you add positive karma, it can hit stable karma, which in this case is free, and it gets to the stable repository immediately. Or you can add negative karma if this package is broken or something, and the package is not going to the stable repository, so the users will have stable system. This is great. You can test it and all, but you have to list all the packages from the updates testing repository, choose packages which you want to test, then search for them on this website, and it's a kind of a long process. So we decided to make it easier. The first tool is named Fedora Easy Karma, which is terminal application, and it does this for you automatically. So it lists the packages, matches with the body, and write all the relevant information, and you can just add the positive or negative karma after testing on your own from the command line. That's great, but it's not so user-friendly as we would like to have it for regular users. So we created fedora-gooey-karma. This is something like Fedora Easy Karma, but it has a GUI, and it should be more user-friendly and more for regular users. So you just start it, hit the button, reload packages, and on the left side you got packages which you have updated from the updates testing repository. These packages regular Fedora users don't have because this repository is not enabled by default. So you can test it before it goes to the production. So you can choose, for example, HTTPD. You can see YAM description, some body update nodes. These are nodes from the developer. And then you can see a list of bugs on the top right corner. So this update should fix these bugs. Then there are test cases, because every component can have their own test cases, and it's linked to the Fedora project wiki page. And it's really interesting that you have access to related packages, which, for example, if you have some library in a list and you don't know what this library is doing, fedora-gooey-karma is going through the dependency tree and looking for desktop files. And if this desktop files is somewhere here, it will show up here. So, for example, libpurple is a library for instant messaging, but you have no idea what it is, and you would like to test it. In desktop packages will Pidgin show up, because Pidgin uses libpurple. So you know that if the Pidgin is crashing or it cannot connect to your Jabber or something like that, you know that libpurple could be broken and you should consider further testing of libbarple. There are some shortcuts. You can open the body update in your web browser. That was the page on the second slide. You can download source RPM and look through the spec file, for example, and you can assign if this package is favorite or ignore and so on. There's some tools. This is the most important screen because you can see comments to this update. You can add your own comment, and you can see that, for example, user Ebra is giving to this update negative karma. So if you don't have an idea what to test, how to test, and you just open it up and there is plenty of packages, fedora-gooey-karma is making some hints for you. In this case, these are packages which has negative karma. So, for example, you don't know what to test, you open up this tab, and you can see that Cairo package has negative karma, and it would be great if you can retest it. So you can go there, read the comment, and you can decide whether the user has broken system by something else or the Cairo package is broken. So it helps to choose the packages which to test. Another hint is currently running applications. So you update your system from Fedora update testing repository. You have some applications already running. And you know that, for example, I'm running Network Manager, and Network Manager has update. Of course, if you are already running and then you update your system, then you have still the old version. So it's good to restart or reboot the system to get the new bits. And this, for example, if you know what is LXPolkit and it's running on your background, you can test it easier because you are already using it, right? There is also favorite packages tab, where are the favorite packages that you can choose on the few slides before, as I showed. And ignore packages. If some packages bothers you, they will not show up in the list on the left. And the last really important thing is filter. On the top left corner, you can see SIR packages input. You can just type your package name and it will filter for you. And very important is user filter. You can place your name to the user filter, and it will filter out the packages or the updates which already have comment from you. So if you, for example, commented and tested 90% of packages you don't want to have it listed on the left side, you can just type your name here and it will list it out and you cannot see it, and you can continue with testing on the packages which you didn't see yet. So that's all for fedora-gooey-karma. So if you have some questions, I can answer it, maybe. Okay, thank you. Fast.
All right, our second speaker is Jiri Kulda, who is a student here at the Brno University of Technology. Jiri is also participating in our Red Hat Lab activity here at the university, and his work is, he's trying to create a generator of documentation which will use only the test code as an input.
So
hello, my name is Jiri Kulda, and I'd like to say a few words about automatic generator of documentation from Beakerlib test. My main goal is to make really usable, important documentation from Beakerlib tests without any documentation markup, as we, for example, know some Java doc or Doxygen. First of all, I would like to tell you what is the Beakerlib and how we can recognize the Beakerlib test. Beakerlib is a shell-level integration testing library providing convenience functions which simplify testing, writing, and analysis of integration and black box tests. On the slide, we can see simple Beakerlib test. We can see that Beakerlib tests are divided into phases, and there are 3 phases: setup, test, and cleanup. And as their name predicts, we can expect the same thing from them. So, for example, in the phase cleanup, we can expect that there will be some commands providing cleaning after the test. And we can expect the same thing from the rest of the phases. Also, we can see some commands beginning with the RL, and those are Beakerlib commands. I know that you may be used to some sort of different type of tests, and as I said, Beakerlib library is shell-level integrated library, so it's shell, but it looks quite different. And even if you wanted to use your own favorite shell command, you can write it, it will work. The second thing was that I should determine how it should look the ideal documentation. And I think that it should be in some structural format to look really good, and the reader will see what is the important information and what is not. Also, I think the documentation should contain some information about the description of the test, name of the author, keywords for better searching between the documentations, and also some information about the documentation relevance. This generator will work with the Beakerlib commands, and this information about the documentation relevance I like to have, because imagine that you have a test phase consists of 5 commands, and 4 of them will be shell commands, which the generator will do not understand, and it will make the documentation information for only one Beakerlib command. So I like to have provide some information to the reader how he can trust the documentation. When I had this idea how it should look like, I went to testers and asked them if it's usable for real world. And they said, okay, we can use it. And after an hour of speaking, I have some interesting feedback. For example, the documentation could be really large if it will be in some structural format. For me, it was quite interesting fact, because when I imagine that I open really enormous documentation, first thing will be that I wanted to close it immediately. I don't want to read it. But they say they are okay with that. Also, they would like to have some information about where the error was raised in the test, or why, or how they can avoid it. Some sort of debugging information. Today, I mainly wanted to talk about the process of generating the documentation. So I made simple test phase consist of 4 Beakerlib commands. And for this test phase, I will try to generate the ideal documentation. I'll be using some sort of parser, which will be filled with this test phase, and as a result, will be some sort of container, which will consist of only lines of code. Nothing more, just the lines of code. As a second step will be to try to find from these lines of code some Beakerlib commands and their options. So we can see, for example, on the left side, there is a line RPM HTTPD, and as a result is that I know that I have the knowledge that there is a RPM command, and there is the package, which is important fact for me. There is a package HTTPD. When I have these facts or data, depends on how you want to call it, I can generate the documentation information. But I know about two ways how to do it. First way is that I know I have Beakerlib documentation, and I know exactly what every Beakerlib command should do. So I can, if I'm focused only on the Beakerlib commands, I can generate the information from it. And the second way is to use some natural language generation system, which works with the knowledge of English language, and also with the facts I provide him. And if I will be using or I implement this natural language generation system, I have one big advantage for you, and that's it. That if you wanted to improve or teach the generator some new commands, some new not Beakerlib commands, you need to modify or you need to change the one thing, and this is the translator. So I think it will be really good for someone who wants to change it or modify it. When I have the information, documentation information, I can generate the output documentation. But I thought if there is some connection between this information, and I implement some sort of linker, which would try to find the connection between them. And as we can see on the left side, there is two information in the bottom. And we can see that they have one thing in common, which is they're working with the same file, index.html. And for these two information, I will make the information we can see on the right side. And as we can see, the information is more human readable, which is one of my goals. And so this is the important step too. As the last step is to generate the output documentation. And we can see that the first line on the left side is missing. It's not here because you may think the importance low, so it's useless information. But if there is any information, it's important information. So why I wanted to call it, when I wanted to tell it, I have some function, which if you imagine that you have a really big Beakerlib command, Beakerlib test, and obviously you can generate a really big documentation. Even if the tester says that they're okay with that and they could read it, I wanted the output documentation could fit to some size of A4, nothing bigger. So if I know that the output will be bigger, I can erase some information with the low importance. So I hope that you now know how to generate the information, how it could work, and thank you for your attention. Any questions? Yeah.
Is there any way how the author of the particular library can also provide some input you could use for the generating of your description?
You mean some sort of comments, or what do you mean?
Yes, I accept that you currently are working with the standard Beakerlib library.
Yeah.
So if I'm creating my own library, if I may, I don't know, create some files or do something in order to improve also the documentation for my command, for my library.
Okay, you may, I can use, if it will be this answer for a question, I can use some comments from, there are Beakerlib commands, and they have, as an option, they have some comment what it's supposed to do. So I can use it if it's your question, if it's the answer for a question.
So I'm not sure, but maybe the developer of the library could provide some priorities or help you with the priorities,
Yeah.
or give you some hints how to link, how to generate, give you some style for generating comments.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Would this be possible?
I don't know. I think it depends on the developers who can improve the library.
How do you set the importance value?
That's the thing I just need to figure out because it's not implemented. It's my bachelor thesis, so I am in the middle. I don't have this phase implemented yet, but it needs to be done because it's my bachelor thesis. So thank you.
Okay. Jo, myslím, že to bude. So hello everyone, I'm Miroslav Vadkerti, I'm a quality engineer for Red Hat, and I have been playing around with RPMgrill recently, and I want to introduce to you this new tool that is available now in Fedora 21. So, what is it? So, RPMgrill is a tool for sanity testing Koji builds. Here I have to mention two important things. When I say Koji builds, I mean builds from the Fedora build system, and here I have to say that it is only able to test Koji builds and not single RPMs. So the input is the whole Koji build. And when I say sanity testing, I mean that it's inspecting the the contents of all the RPMs that are built, including the SRPM, and it takes also the input for as input byte logs from Koji. Okay, it was previously a Red Hat internal project, and it has been now open sourced. Yes, it's packaged in Fedora 21, but I will show you how you can install it also in Fedora 20. And I want to mention here that it's not intended to be a replacement for RPMlint. If you know, RPMlint is again a sanity testing tool for RPM packages, because RPMlint is able to test only RPM packages, and this tool is only for Koji builds. It can detect some other issues that RPMlint can't. Of course, there is some overlap in some tests, but yeah, I want to mention this. Okay, so what tests are included? Actually, the tests are implemented as test modules, and each test module has some subtests. There are quite a lot of them. Just to mention some interesting ones. So there are some Specfile sanity checks that the tool can detect from the Specfile from the SRPM. So, for example, it can detect non-UTF characters that can be strange when you print it out, or, for example, improper usage of macros, as you can see here, that someone who put it there in changelog, he wanted to write %bin_dir, and this macro got expanded, so he should have used like 2 %, and so on. Yeah, multilib checks. This is quite a good one. As you know, for x86 architecture, you have in your repositories also E686 packages. So these are called multilib, and there, when you have packages with the same name, same version, but for different architectures, there could be some conflicts. This should be avoided. And RPMgrill actually can detect that two files that are in the distribution are conflicting. So, for example, this is from transaction check error from YAM. So when I try to install this Zorba package that I actually found with RPMgrill, that it shows that it is not installable because some of the files are conflicting. Okay. So, ELF checks, another quite important thing. I don't know if you know Rero, so it's some security measure, and you can check the link below if you don't know Rero. there is a common security practice that shell libraries should be, for example, compiled with partial raro, and set with binaries, mostly daemons, should be compiled with full raro. So RPMgrill also contains some tests about about this, and if it detects that the daemon is not raro, for example, it will spit out some error. Yes, and of course it can show you that while during building your package, actually there were some nasty warnings or errors. If the package built, there were no errors, so warnings, and so you will see some report. So let's get to it. How can you use the tool? Actually, RPMgrill is a command line tool, but we have already a preview web interface ready that is reachable on this address currently, and it is hooked on Koji, so it's testing all Koji builds starting from Fedora 20. So when a new Koji build is built via fed message, there is some daemon that is checking if there was a new package, and it executes the testing on it. So this is actually the web interface. How does it look like? There is some search tab, so you can search for your favorite package. When you hover, these are actually the testing modules that I was speaking of, and these are the subtests. So you can check this is some help message. What does the test mean, and so on. So you can search when you want. I would like, for example, search for this kind of errors. Okay, sorry. Okay. So I can see that, for example, these packages subscription manager failed in these subtests. Yes, and you can see actually these errors are not separated, that it's a failure or an error or something. These are just some messages intended for the developers or for the quality assurance engineers that they take a look at it and, for example, file a bug for the component. If it's something serious or not, it should make their packages better. Okay, so you can check some recent jobs if there were any. We can see that the testing is going on. Maybe there are some packages also in queue. They are not. Yes, some simple homepage. So this is just a preview web interface. Mainly this talk is about just to show the community that there is such a tool, and hopefully make the packages better with it. Yes, so how can you use it locally? So you can install one RPM package, RPMgrill in Fedora 20, or you can install it from the repository in Fedora 21. Actually, you have to do two things. You have to fetch the Koji build via a separate command, or RPMgrill fetch build. So it fetches, for example, the first one, cronny, in some versions to the cronny directory, and now you run RPMgrill on this cronny directory. Why I did this is actually that some of the tests take some other input also. For example, for the set-to-it binaries, there is a white list of packages that should be set-to-it. These are actually taken from RHEL 7 and should be adjusted with the Fedora security team for Fedora needs. So this test needs to be now disabled because this file is not distributed actually with the RPMgrill. So this is why I removed the plugin there. So in this plugin folder, actually there are these testing modules implemented. It's all in Perl. And yeah, the output of the testing is then, there is a YAML file, XML file, so it should be quite easily readable also for humans or for machines. Okay, taskotron integration. So there was an effort to integrate RPMgrill with taskotron. This is currently stalled, but I want to resurrect this thing. There is also already a RPM lint, for example, test there. But before I do that, I would like to bit mature the tests. There are quite a lot of false positives, and there could be some improvement in some of the tests, so they don't spit out so much false positives, so we can give a pass or fail for the build. Yes. Yes, and check it out, Filebox, or find me on RPMgrill channel on Freenode. If you have any questions, this is now the time. Yes? Yes. Yes, of course. If it's an internal Koji instance, as we have also in Red Hat, so yes, of course, it's usable, and it actually is also used in Red Hat now. Okay. So, yes, you're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
So I'm afraid it's all for this session. Our speakers took the short really seriously. So enjoy your lunch and see you here.
You're for the avocado?
Yes.
Your name pronounced is?
And I already saw the avocado talk different.
Dobré to bylo.
Čau. Pojď se doří. Ano, ale to. Last stop. Můžete nám prosím přijít pomoct do E112 Díky moc. Je to ořezaný. Posunutý nahoru. Jak jsme s tím?
Je trocha vlevo.
Jak jsem zval Jiří. Teďka to fungovalo.
Já jsem říkal, tam vedle, ale funguje to ty displeje. Nevíš, jako, jestli to tam bude někdo schopný zprovoznit.
Zrovna jsem byl Jiříček, takže se vám můžete zeptat, jak to je.
Ale jako on to asi tak nutně nebrám, že jsem našel jako fallback, já zjistil jsem, že když...
V čem je problém?
Že máme vlastně, jak se to posledně hnulo nahoru,
Jo.
takže že to vlastně hnulo normálně viditelnou část obrazovej. Bylo to useklý, jako dole.
Já mám prezentaci, jak to mám nějaký shell, že? Takže aby to bylo vidět oboje, tak jsem skvěl, to bylo fajn, ale protože se to mám...
Vedle máme pro změnu Niky, jo? To bych musel vzít zase jiný ten.
A je to tady dvoje.
Co tam máte za rozlišení? Ideální je 1024 na 768.
Já už jsem si s tím potykal, takže jo. Tady jsou ty mute buttony, jako.
Testing.